Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Knights, the managing director of the OK Preps Network. I'm joined by Locust Grove quarterback Mason Fine. He set the record for the most career passing yards in Oklahoma high school football history last week in a win over Claremore Sequoia. Mason, first off, it goes without saying, but congratulations. I think this is something that people knew was going to happen this year after the numbers that you put up last year. Let's talk about the lead up to Friday night's game. And just what went into your mind as far as the build up, knowing that it by all means should be an important night.
Right. There was a lot of media coverage. There's a lot of people asking me all week about what are you going to do? What's going on through your mind and stuff like that. But really, it was just simply I was trying to block all of that out and just focus on the task at hand, which was just winning the game and focusing on playing the game I love, which is football. And really, that's what I said to most of the media and most of the people asking me questions was I'm just going to go out there and do what we've been told to do and just get ready for Claremore Sequoia.
How difficult has it been to deal with the media? And look, I'll say this, and I've told many people off the record, but I talked with you during spring practice last year, and you weren't always good in front of the camera. The interview process was a struggle back then, but you've gotten so much better dealing with the media, and even right now, the way you're able to talk and communicate with me and get points across. How have you dealt with all the media presence that has been here in Locust Grove because of the numbers that you've been able to put up?
I would like to think I've been handling the media attention, very well. I've been trying to stay, calm and humble, and things that I've kind of lived up with my parents have raised me to be like. The thing about it is our team has handled the media very well. Also, there's been a lot of media coverage here at our games lately, and they've handled it well. We probably play our best games when the media is here watching us. So, that's a good sign. It's getting us ready for the playoffs when bigger games get, bigger, because every week's getting bigger from now on. So, all of us in the Locust Grove football team and the community has really, been well to the media, and we've handled it all well.
Let's go back to the game against Claremore Sequoia. It was an interesting situation, and I was following it on Twitter. I know I talked about this with you on Saturday, but you break the record, and look, it was only a matter of time when the record was going to fall after throwing for over 5,000 yards last year. But on the pass play that you broke the record on, Pirtle was fighting for some extra yards and just had the ball yanked out of his hand. Was that moment kind of, I don't want to say tainted because it's a record falling and it should definitely be celebrated. Right. But at the end of the day, are you a little irritated that there was a turnover on the play?
I'm not irritated. It is a bittersweet feeling when, you look back on that and it is a turnover. But, it's to my main guy, Jason Pirtle. And, no one would have expected number 6 to, turn the ball over like that. He's hard on himself, and I'm not giving him, he knows what he does. I'm not going to be hard on him. But, just it happened. The coaches weren't very happy because it was a turnover, and we don't worry about the records, we worry about the game. And at that time, it was a very close game, and Claremore Sequoia was hanging with us. So, props to them. Was it
kind of fitting that the pass was to Jason simply because of what you two have been through over the last couple of years? And look, your whole team has been wonderful, like you mentioned, but it's been you and Jason who have been putting up the numbers, and I know the Tulsa World's been doing an excellent series focused on you guys, but the team as a whole, was it kind of a fitting deal that the record-breaking pass was to Jason, who's been breaking records himself?
Right. I would like to think so. Now, that play wasn't designed to go to Pirtle or anything. It just happened to be Pirtle on that play, and because, he was open. So, maybe Coach Pookie called that play to go to Pirtle. I really don't know, but I just went through my checks, and it just happened to be Pirtle on that play. So.
Now, let me ask you this. Going into the rest of the season, do you guys still mention last year at all as far as the disappointment with falling short in the semifinals to Heritage Hall, simply because, the Chargers are good. Once again, they're still number one. They've been number one all season. There's a lot of really good teams in Class 3A. Do you bring up last year's disappointment at all in preparation for the home stretch of the regular season and once the playoffs begin?
Right, I think we do. We talk, I wouldn't say a lot about it, but we talk about last year's disappointment because we want to learn from our mistakes, and we want to learn what we could have done different in the playoffs and against Heritage Hall. And, we've been working at it, and then here lately we've just been taking one day at a time, not necessarily, every week at a time. We've been focused on every practice and every day, because if we come out here and get better every day, then it'll just help us and continually maybe reach our potential in the playoffs.
Normally when I talk to you, it's about the numbers that you've been putting up, but I want to shift the conversation in a different direction. Let's go back to your 8th grade year. You're at Pegs, which is, it's a weird situation because coaches are allowed to openly go in there and recruit the athletes that are at Pegs when they're in 8th grade. and go back to that year. I know Coach Hino talked to me several weeks ago, I think about week 2 after the Adair win, that it wasn't only Locust Grove coming after you as far as where you might go. Take us back to that, and were there any other schools that you were close to ending up at?
Right. I know I was back at Pegs, and we had a really decent year in our basketball and football team. We actually got state runners-up in football that year. And there was a lot of coaches that were wondering where I was going to go to high school at, because I did have that free transfer to go wherever I wanted. So I had Tahlequah Sequoia came up and talked to me a little bit. Tahlequah, Wagner, Pryor, Locust Grove, and Salina. And I really had no idea where I was going into my 8th grade year. And then I kind of limited it down to Pryor, Locust Grove, and Tahlequah Sequoia. And at that time, I wasn't really, I was considering Locust Grove, but I knew they didn't have a very good, football program at that time, because, they were going through, a little, bump in the street and stuff. But, and then so I just said something might have to change over at Locust Grove for me to go there. And, that's what I told everybody. I was honest with everybody. And so I saw that they hired a new coach. I was like, all right, let me go meet them and see what they have to say. And after I got done talking to Coach Hino and, David Blevins, the OC, I was 100% sure I was going to attend Locust Grove my freshman year.
So it came down to the hire and how different history would be if that hire wasn't made, because Locust Grove arguably might not be having the success that they're having. Quite possibly Mason Fine might be throwing footballs for some other team. What was it about that conversation with Hino and Coach Blevins that you mentioned? Because, look, they completely turned the ship around. It wasn't a guarantee that Locust Grove was going to be able to go from going 0-10 to making the playoffs and in a couple of years contending for state championships. What was it about that conversation that sold you on Locust Grove?
Well, I guess Coach Hino is a great recruiter, I guess. He's a great conversationalist, and he talked me into it. He just said all the right things, and he's kept those promises throughout my high school career. He said that we're going to come here and we're going to throw the ball around, and I think you can be the guy to lead us those 4 to 3 years that you're the head of the ship. And there was a great 8th grade freshman class when I was coming in, and I was friends with most of them. I was friends with Jason Pirtle and Trevor Taylor. I knew all those guys well because I played with them early on in my youth football, my 6th grade year. So I knew the type of talent and the potential they had over here. And so Coach Hino just said, hey, we're going to push hard. Our goal every year is a state championship and winning games. I really just liked that, thought that he's going to do whatever it takes to win football games, and that's really what brought me over here.
Now you're at Locust Grove, and I remember talking to you once again in the spring of last year before you became a household name around the state, and I was looking at what you had done in your sophomore year. And I thought to myself, and this isn't a pat on my back by any means because Coach Hino was the one who alerted me to it, but I just thought to myself, this kid, he might be in for a special season. Turns out you were over 5,000 yards last year. I don't think a single media outlet didn't name you Player of the Year. I know we gave you the Player of the Year award last year. What do you do with all the trophies? Because I know Coach Hino had mentioned in the past that you wanted to leave them in the school because it was a school award as much as an individual award. What do you do with all the awards that you're bringing in?
Right. I have some of my awards here at Locust Grove, and I have my Gatorade banner hanging up in the cafeteria right now, and there's other awards throughout the field house and at the school. But there's a lot of my other trophies are at Pegs in their gym and their trophy case, and I went to show them my Gatorade trophy and my other trophies, and they really enjoyed it. And I was like, you guys can keep them to show them around for a minute. I don't want them to be in my house because I just kind of showcase them. But they actually bought a trophy case and put some of the trophies in there, and it's displaying down there in the Pegs gym right now.
There you go. Look, I've always heard the story of Jason White back when he won the Heisman Trophy. Somebody asked him where he had the trophy, and he said he was using it as a doorstop in his house. Keep the door open. That's where he wanted. Look, that's not to, diss the Heisman Trophy by any means. It's just you have been so team-oriented, and you've never really let all the media attention, guys like me who come out and interview you and talk to you about all these numbers that you're putting up, you've never let it get to you, and you're always humble. Where does that come from?
It probably comes from, how I was raised, and, I've realized football is a team sport. There's no I in team, the old saying goes. But I couldn't accomplish any of this without my teammates and my coaches in this community, and I really believe that because it's true. And I just want to speak the truth because I'm nothing without my teammates. They push me as much as I push them. These coaches, I've learned so much while here I'm at Locust Grove. I couldn't be blessed to have a greater coaching staff and teammates than Locust Grove.
Now, definitely want to get your thoughts on the rest of the season and what it's going to take for Locust Grove to take that next step to a possible championship game. But first, the recruitment of Mason Fye. It's been a big topic because, you're arguably the best quarterback in the state when it comes to those numbers, but recruitment obviously has been slow because of your size. Update us on what's been going on lately, and is there any possible breaking news on down the line as far as your college future goes?
I wouldn't say any breaking news. I came in here recently, but just several Division II schools all around have shown interest and offered me, and they're recruiting me hard. And I have had a couple of FCS schools, contact me. Not a whole lot. In Division I, really the only ones is Oklahoma State, and they're keeping in contact with me, and they described the whole situation on how that's going. I've just been patient and just coming out here doing what I've been doing on Fridays, just come out here and win games and put our offense in the best situation. And I've told Coach Hino and Pookie's talked to me about the recruiting thing. They're like, hey, don't get frustrated. Keep doing what you're doing. They'll come around. And so that's really what I've been just doing.
When recruiting guys say you're too small to play the quarterback position, you're not tall enough or you're not big enough, do you use that to motivate you in the weight room or on the field during practices?
Right, I do. I listen to what they say, and most colleges are looking for their prototypical quarterback, and I understand that I don't fit most of their needs, physically. And I do. I play with a chip on my shoulder every Thursday and Friday night. I come out here and practice, and I just like to, show guys that, hey, I can play at the next level, and just come out here and just play on a chip on my shoulder. So that's how you got to do it.
All right, rest of the 2015 season, you got a couple more games left in the regular season, then it's playoff time.
Right.
What does it have to, or what does Locust Grove have to do this year for the end of the season to be a little different than it was last year?
I think we just got to go that extra mile and put in those extra hours in the film and just come out here in our practice. We got to practice, a little bit harder than we did last year. And I think it has to go with the scout team. Our scout team's been doing really well this year. Our scout team defense is giving the offense a great look. And it's almost kind of more difficult playing against our scout team than it is sometimes on Friday night, And maybe you can see that on Friday nights when we're out there having success. Maybe it's because of our scout team defense. They do the best to try to stop us, and they're out here every day trying to, make us look bad. And the same way it is on scout team offense. We're trying to make the defense look bad and, trying to make them better for, so they can see it Friday night. And I think, it just comes back to film and reading defenses. And we watch film every day. Defense watches film before school every day. And we're just, we're putting in that time. And then it has to transcend to Friday. We got to take care of the ball. We just got to do the things we've been taught. We just got to listen to the coaches.
Class 3A, does it seem deeper this year than it was last year with all the teams that are still undefeated? Plus, there's some really good teams that have already lost this year, but they're still contenders as far as the gold ball. Does 3A seem deeper this year than it was last year, or is it about the same?
I would say Class 3A is a little bit deeper this year. There's a lot of great teams across the state, and it's going to be tough. And we just got to come out here and focus on us. That's all we can do, and then just get ready for Friday night and play whoever lines up ahead of us.
Mason, it's always good to talk to you, man, and congratulations once again on the record.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's Locust Grove quarterback Mason Fye. Once again, he broke the record for the most career passing yards in Oklahoma high school history. Now owns the record for single season passing yards, single season touchdowns, career touchdowns, and career passing yards. He's done it all in the last 3+ years here at Locust Grove. We'll see if he can add a state championship to the resume on down the line. He's Mason Fye. I'm Michael Knight, and this has been an OK Preps exclusive right here on OKPreps.com.